Great to see you here again. My name is Luc de Koster, founder of the Koster Academy. And in this video, we're going to talk about how can you manage meetings? What are the best ways to manage a meeting? And what are the things you should for sure not do or avoid? Managing meetings is very important because it will help you to get the right people at the right moment and discuss the things that are specifically defined for that meeting. Mixing meetings, talking too much, not following an agenda are all things that will create frustrations and problems. And we don't want that because meetings are important in project management. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. So let's have a look at the meetings. We have different meetings in project management. What are these different meetings that we can identify? Now, when we look at meetings, there are all kinds of meetings we can have in business and whatever. But in this case, in this video, we are going to concentrate on the most common meetings that we have in project management. Of course, there is the project kickoff meeting, which is once in a phase or time event. Whenever you start a new project or a phase, you have a kickoff meeting. Basically, the kickoff meeting is inviting the people, explaining what the project is about. People can ask questions. We'll see where it goes. But basically, we're not reporting any status. We are just informing the people who are concerned with the project. They will be on the meeting. We have a very important meetings which are done typically on a weekly basis. These are the project status meetings. Status is important. We're going to discuss how the project is going, what are we doing, what happened, what will happen, all kinds of things, everything related to the status. When we have larger projects, we can also have separate risk management meetings. So it depends a little bit on the size and the complexity of the project. When you have a risk manager for your project, it may be a very interesting element to also consider these risk management meetings. Now, the outcomes of these risk management meetings, they can also be reported on the project status meeting. But all the details, all the risk-related items will be covered specifically in the risk management meeting itself. We have review meetings where we review the project and the plan. We have information sharing meetings where we inform the people what is going on, what are the elements what are we doing, what will happen. And also we have change management, very important. When we have a project, we can have those important changes. We have to deal with that. And the change control board will be in charge of change management. And of course, there are technical meetings when we have technical items to discuss. We should not bring it on the status meetings. We can identify technical issues, but then they will be, let's say, sent to the technical meeting. Somebody will take charge of the technical issue, organize it, and report back to the project manager before or the latest at the next or some following status meeting. One of the things we can wonder is, why do meetings fail? We meet and we have no result from the meeting. One of the main reasons is that there are no clear expectations. So we have a meeting, everybody comes together, nice, we're there, but what's the goal of the meeting? The participants may not be actively participating. They're not applying effective listening skills, very important here to understand what's happening. There may not be a meeting agenda, objectives, and meeting reports. We just meet and then we don't do anything about it. There may be no follow-up on the different issues, so we talk about something and then it disappears. We don't talk about it anymore. Basically, why do we do the meetings? Participants may not have been chosen wisely. There are some cases where there is some issue and the people don't really know who to invite, so let's just invite everybody. Basically, the people who have nothing to do with the meeting are losing their time, they cannot work on the project, and it's not creating a lot of trust in the management of the project. Bad timings, missing proper meeting management, typical things. Conflicts that are not managed properly. When you have a conflict, you have to manage it to avoid that the conflict will, in fact, destroy the meeting. And, of course, we don't invite the people. We forget to send reminders. We forget people to invite. All things of that. Let's have a look at some examples. Endless technical discussions during status meetings. It happens that you have a technical issue, and I have one case that I followed a long time ago where the project manager was in fact only discussing technical meetings, what's the size of the screw, things like that. And basically, they were not following or not reporting on the progress of the project. Technical issues can be identified, but you assign a person responsible for resolving this issue, looking into the issue, and then reporting back to the project manager. It can be direct to the project manager before the status meetings, or you can set a time by which you need to make a decision. Like I already said, just invite everybody. You don't know who to invite. Just invite everybody. We will find somebody who will be concerned with it. That's not the right way to do it, because people will come to the meeting. Basically, it may become a habit, and at the end, they just go there. They don't listen anymore. Another element to help meetings to be successful is a good meeting planning. You need the attendees and the invitees to come to the meeting. You have to know who these are. You have to set a frequency of occurrence, goals and objectives, a specific location, a place, a purpose, an advanced notification. You need some supplies and equipment, and you have to look at the time and the length of time that you will have. So basically, you have to organize that the people can come. There could be some refreshment, some things that people, in fact, are able to have a good meeting. You have to send out the agenda, prepare it for comments. People may add points to the agenda. They may have some comments related to some point. Before going to the meeting location, have a verification. Just verify if everything is available, and eventually identify additional needs. Have a look if everything is okay, so you can improve the meeting surroundings. Identify the different roles that you will have in the meeting, like the facilitator, the recorder, and other roles that you may have. An important element before you start the meeting is to have a meeting agenda. Now you can have a fixed number of points. Typically you have a number of points that are coming back. You can create a type of an agenda, a form that you can use. And basically once you start with the meetings, you have that layout that you can use, and that will help you. That template can be prepared for each type of meeting, so you know who to invite, what to do, things like that, with a lot of comments. So if you want to find something, if you want to prepare the meeting, a lot of information would already be there. Be sure that before planning the meeting, the people already should have received the meeting report of the previous meeting, and people should have the possibility to add items that are important. Of course, you decide what will be on the agenda. It may be that you say, okay, at this point, we will consider it, we will discuss it in a different way. Typically, the main points on the meeting agenda are to welcome the participants, the approval of the previous meeting report, overview of the agenda, eventually adding items, because it's one of the questions, is there some urgent items to add, and start of the meeting, and we finish when all the items or the issues have been addressed, and then we close the meeting. When you conduct the meeting, it's very important to welcome the participants. Certainly when you have the people who are there for the first time, you take presence of the participants. People can be present, excused, or absent. People can always give a reason why they were not there later, but they're not there. You didn't get any excuse. So basically they are absent. Overview of the agenda, adding or moving items and approval. You can move through the different items and invite the people to comment on the issue, so the people can have a comment. So you're leading the meeting and you're guiding the people, you're inviting the people to talk. And when people try to, let's say too much, you may say, okay, stop, you are in charge. So you have to see that the meeting is run properly. Everybody should be able to share their opinions. It's not that people should not say it. Everybody has the right to say what they think during the meeting. You can formulate conclusions. And finally, you set a date for the follow-up meetings and you plan a next meeting. You close the meeting and you complete the meeting report and share the report when it is ready. It's always a draft that you share because people can still send you some comments that they perceive things differently, so they can send you comments so you can adjust the meeting minutes. Follow up on the results is very important. You do the meeting, that's very good, but you have to follow up on what happens and you have to see what are the main conclusions, who are the people who have to send in reports and so on. The meeting report has been sent, so that's the first element where people can already comment and they can send their comments. They have to review it. They send the comments back to the project manager or the person who is responsible for the meeting. When you have assigned special tasks to different people and you're the project manager in charge of this meeting, then you have to see what's happening. The people have to report you. So once you say, okay, we have a comment in 3 days, people will have to contact you within that time. You look at the assignments and when necessary, you address the people and remind them of their responsibilities. You have to be sure that the work will be done. And then you plan for the next meeting. Now, we also have what we call thinking the hat patterns. And we look at thinking the patterns. We have some hat system that has been, let's say, developed by some people. We have the red hat, and the people with the red hat, they use emotions to deal with issues, problems and concerns. They're subjective and the choices on value. The white hat, they emphasize on fact and data. They stress objectivity and independence. The yellow hat, they look at the positive, they emphasize the positive. They look at advantages and take a constructive approach. The black hat, typically looking at the negative, looks at the reasons against something. Then we have the green hat. Those are the people who are not limited by the proverbial box, but basically I don't like the expression thinking out of the box. Basically there should be no box and we should be thinking without a box. There should not be even mentioning the idea of having a box in your mind. There is no box. The sky is the limit. We can find out what are the possibilities. And the green hat is typically looking into alternatives that are not the classic alternatives. So they consider different alternatives. A very interesting position when you have those people in your meeting. And then the blue hat, they look at organization and content, and they look, or they are in, they like importance, or they have an importance discipline, and they like a logical sequence. So that was it about meeting management. That was it for this video, but don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.